That
The
necklace
first
is
time
dangerous.
it happened,
What do you
I
mean?
thought I was
No
going to
time.
pass
Come
out
with
on
me
the
now.
subway floor, and the last thing I expected was a stranger pointing at my necklace and whispering, "Take it off." Now, like he was trying to save my life. Every morning felt the same back then. I would wake up with a sour taste in my mouth and a knot in my stomach that refused to loosen. By the time I reached the subway platform, the nausea would rise like a wave I couldn't outrun. The lights were too bright. The sounds were too sharp. The smell of metal and old air made my head spin. I kept a small pack of mints in my bag and told myself it was just stress. New job, long commute, not enough sleep. That's what adults say when something feels wrong, but they don't want to look too closely. I was 27 and living alone for the first time. My apartment was small and always a little cold, but it was mine. I worked at a marketing firm downtown, the kind of place with glass walls and fake smiles. Everyone looked put together. Everyone pretended they were fine. I learned quickly how to do the same. The necklace was the one thing I never took off. A thin gold chain with a small oval pendant. Inside it was a tiny photograph. You couldn't see it unless you opened the clasp, but I knew it was there. It had been the gift from my mother before she passed away. She gave it to me on my 21st birthday and said, "This is for protection. Wear it when you feel lost." I laughed at the time. I didn't believe in protection charms or signs. But after she was gone, the necklace felt like a piece of her heartbeat resting against my skin. That morning, the nausea was worse than usual. The train was packed. Someone's elbow pressed into my ribs. A man nearby was coughing. The air felt thick, like I was breathing through a cloth. I closed my eyes and focused on standing still. Don't throw up. Don't faint. Just get through this. When the train finally stopped at my station, I stumbled out and leaned against a pillar. My hands were shaking. That's when I noticed the jeweler's shop. I had passed it 100 times before, but I had never gone in. The window was filled with old watches and rings that looked like they carried stories. Something about the quiet inside pulled me in. A small bell rang as I opened the door. The air inside was cool and smelled faintly of polish and metal. Behind the counter stood an older man with gray hair and kind eyes. He looked up and froze. Not in a rude way, more like he had seen something he didn't expect. "Are you okay?" he asked. I nodded, even though it was a lie. "Just dizzy," I said. His eyes drifted to my necklace. His expression changed. The warmth drained from his face, replaced by something serious. He leaned forward slightly and lowered his voice. "Take it off," he said. I blinked. "What?" "The necklace," he said again, more urgently. "Take it off right now." My hand flew to my chest. I felt suddenly exposed, like he had reached inside me. "Why?" I asked. My voice sounded small. He hesitated, then sighed. "Please, trust me." I don't know why I listened. Maybe it was the way his hands trembled just a little. Maybe it was the fear in his eyes. I unclasped the chain and held it in my palm. The moment it left my skin, the nausea eased. Not completely, but enough that I noticed. The jeweler let out a breath he'd been holding. "How long have you been feeling sick?" he asked. "Every morning," I said. "For weeks." He nodded slowly. "And this necklace? You wear it every day?" "Yes." He looked relieved and sad at the same time. "May I see it?" I hesitated, then handed it to him. He examined the clasp, the chain, the pendant. His brow furrowed. He opened the tiny oval and looked inside. His face softened. "It's beautiful," he said quietly, "but it's old, and something inside is wrong." I laughed, a nervous sound. "It's just jewelry." He met my eyes. Sometimes jewelry carries more than metal. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to grab the necklace and leave. Another part wanted to sit down and cry. He wrapped the necklace in a cloth and placed it gently on the counter. "Leave it with me," he said. "Let me check it properly. No charge." I shook my head. "I can't. It was my mother's." "I understand," he said. "That's why I'm asking you to trust me." I did. I don't know why, but I did. I went to work without the necklace for the first time in years. I kept touching my chest, expecting to feel its weight. The day passed strangely. I didn't feel sick. I didn't feel great either. Just neutral. Empty. When I got home, the silence felt louder than usual. That night, I dreamed of my mother. She was standing in the kitchen of my childhood home, washing dishes. She turned to me and smiled. "You don't have to carry everything," she said. When I woke up, my pillow was wet with tears. The next afternoon, I returned to the jeweler's shop. He was waiting for me. The necklace lay on the counter, the pendant open. There was corrosion inside, he said gently. Old adhesive, tiny amounts of metal reacting over time. Close to your skin every day, especially when your body is sensitive in the morning. I stared at the necklace. "You mean it was making me sick?" "Yes," he said, slowly, quietly. I felt a strange mix of relief and guilt, like I had blamed myself for something that wasn't my fault, but also like I had failed to protect something precious. "I can fix it," he said. "Replace the inside, clean it properly. But you should know something." I looked up. "Objects tied to grief can keep us stuck," he said softly. "Even when they hurt us, we hold on." His words landed heavier than I expected. I nodded, unable to speak. While he worked on the necklace, I started noticing other things. How I avoided certain streets because they reminded me of my mother. How I kept her voicemail saved, even though hearing it made my chest ache. How I told myself I was fine when I wasn't. The nausea had been my body asking for attention, begging me to slow down, to let go, just a little. When I picked up the necklace a week later, it felt lighter. The jeweler handed it to me with a smile. "It's safe now," he said. "But remember, you don't need it to be okay." I wore it again, but not every day. Some mornings I left it on the dresser and went out into the world without it. And I was okay. The subway still smelled the same. The train was still crowded. Life didn't magically become easy. But I listened to myself more. I rested when I needed to. I stopped pretending I wasn't hurting. Months later, I passed the jeweler's shop and saw the lights were off. A sign in the window said closed. I felt a pang of sadness, but also gratitude. He had seen something I couldn't. He had spoken up when it mattered. I still get nauseous sometimes, when I'm overwhelmed, when I ignore my feelings for too long. But now I know what it means. It's a reminder. Not everything you carry is meant to stay with you forever. Some things are meant to be honored, then gently set down. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is listen when your body whispers, even if the truth scares you at first.